Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in this episode of World of Tanks. Man, it's getting weird out there, folks, isn't it? It's, I'm mostly talking about tanks. All right, so we're not going to get into all the rest of it. But I think the craziness is bleeding into tanks a little bit. It's like the new non-meta. I'm going to coin a phrase. It's like the new non-meta. Everything now is non-meta. It's just random cats and dogs living together, people going in every direction you can think of. And I thought this was a good example. Had this game probably yesterday or the day before. I'm in my Skoda T27 Premium Tier 8 Czech autoloading tank, a tank that I struggle with quite a bit, actually. I have about a 45% win rate at around 90 battles in this thing. I cannot seal the deal with this tank very well, but all of that aside, when I had this game, I thought, man, this is like dragging the unwilling, right? Dragging the unwilling. You get up and you say, hey, let's march over that hill, and only one out of the 100 people wants to go, and then you have to drag the rest by the nose. It's very strange. The new non-meta. There's a lot of new players around. There's a lot of bad accounts that have come back, and I returning old players. I looked at the stats, and again, I'm not a huge stats person as far as shaming, right? I look at stats to try to figure out what somebody's body of work is, get a general idea of the snapshot in time overall, or if I'm looking at recents, how they're doing recently, that kind of thing. When I looked at both of these teams, it was hard to believe. It was hard to believe. So I've got the numbers here. There are only 4 of us at 50 or above. And the 3 that aren't me at 58 are, the best of them is 52. There's a 43, a 45, a 45, a 46, and this is rounded up or down as required. So I don't have it. It could have been 45.3, but there you have it. The other team wasn't really better. They were slightly better, but not much. There was one other player on the other team that was around my percentage, and I want to say it was in the Hellcat or one of the other smaller tanks. I don't go around saying things like, oh, the player base is terrible and it's the end times for World of Tanks and all that kind of thing. But I will say that in this crazy period of history that we're living through, that we're dealing with right now, it has affected other things, and I have to say one of them is the gameplay. And this is a small thing, right? In the big scheme of things, who gives a crap? But this is what we talk about on this channel. We talk about our Pixel Tank game. So it is interesting to me on how things have gone. So let's discuss it specifically for this particular match, which I thought really illustrated it pretty well. You can see that the initial deployment is going, and we have a whole bunch of people going north, which is unusual in and of itself. Although considering that the tanks that are going that way, it's not that unusual, other than the M46KR, which if I got to this match in an M46KR, I would have been really happy because I'd have been down where I am, using all these nice hold down positions that we have. The King Tiger's coming my way, the Lurva, the AT-15A, and the 4202 is out in front. So we're going to go ahead and just watch how the deployment goes. The enemy Barask has a bad day. He's probably one of the better players over on the other team, as I recall. He ends up with 0 damage. I'm going to kick left here to try to cover up on the T-71. I'd like him to not know I'm coming. I was hoping he would stick around for a potato, but he runs off, and I don't get spotted. So we'll come up here, and I'm looking to see, obviously for me, the T-32 and the 703 version 2 are the 2 big ones. I'm kind of curious where they're going to be. I feel like most of those TDs are going to be standoff to some extent. Maybe the HTC pushes in. Maybe the Charioteer plays more like a medium or a heavy and gets in close as well. The Lurva is going to come my way, our Lurva, and the King Tiger is going to go up the hill. But what you usually see on this map is quite a few guys headed up here into this area right here. Right? This is kind of the critical terrain, and then also down here in the southwest. But nobody shows up. The 4202 is down low. Here comes the Lurva. He's still pushing in. I'm paying attention to what's going on up here on the hill right here because there's only a King Tiger and then there's the AT-15A sitting back up on the sniper hill. Nothing's happened yet, and we find the 703 version 2. And there's a T-71DA. The JP actually pushes up. So we have an aggressive Jagdpanther pushing up. The 703 is here, but he's not getting aggressive. which makes me think he doesn't have a lot of backup. He's going to sit back. Very, very strange. This is not the usual for this map. And taking a one-off game and saying, oh, the meta's changed or there's a thing going on with the player base, that doesn't really follow very well. But anecdotally, and I think you guys would agree with me, I've seen a lot of this in the last month or two while we deal with all these things that are going on. The King Tiger C dies. So with a lot of new players coming back, a lot of new players playing the game, it's been very interesting. Those old metas aren't necessarily holding up as much as they usually did, or as much as you would have expected 3 or 4 months ago. That's not to say that the general way this map is played isn't still coming down here onto the high point and then battling it out with the hold down action right there, with a probably sidebar down here and a few fighting up here in the north. That's still kind of the standard. But it's definitely more often that you see weird things like this that you're just going to have to react to. So I went down to that corner. I was curious if I could get some free shots. I wasn't going to go around the corner and take on the 703 because we've got 3 artillery on the enemy side. And I think the FV-4202 is going to learn that lesson the hard way, along with the Lurva, as they attempt to take on that 1 Tier 8. There's the Charioteer. You can see him. He's way down here hanging out. We haven't seen the T-32, so I'm kind of expecting him to be up here. So I'm going to come around and just take a peek and see what's going on. I'm going to come around here and I'm going to find actually the T-71DA raging in here. He doesn't see me, at least at first. Now he does after he takes 2 hits. And I don't quite get that last shot. I sort of saved it because I was looking at him and I'm thinking, well, crud. He knows I have 3 shells total, probably. I took 2. I'm not going to be able to kill this guy out. This is one of the problems. Let's shift gears slightly back to the let's go to T27 for just a minute and discuss that. This is one of the problems with this autoloader. It just doesn't have enough oomph in its clip to really take things down. It can hurt things, but that T-71DA, I can't take out even a T-71DA with the clip. I hit him twice. God forbid you miss once and you only put 2 out of 3 in there. So now I'm in this conundrum because it doesn't have that clip out capability that a lot of autoloaders have. I'm going to have to force it into a reload and get out of here, especially if he has any kind of friends coming down with him. I'm in big trouble. So I have the AT-15A behind me. Then I have the Lurva and the F-22, FV-4202 still working the lower corner here, and I feel like I might get a sneaky shot, but I need to get out of here. And then he comes out reloaded, right? So he was going for the cover and reloading, and then I'm going to eat 1, 2, I think 3. I get away, and then I'm going to eat 1 more shot from the EBR, who starts coming down the hill. He puts another one into me, and that hurt, right? I got lost a lot of hit points taking those guys on, and I wasn't able to finish the T-71DA. So now I'm running back, and I'm thinking, all right, great. AT-15A, here comes the pulling people to victory thing. We're doing okay in the north. By the way, our Barask, not a particularly great player, but he has a great game, does a really nice job in here. He drops like $3,000, mostly up there in the north, taking out what was admittedly a good chunk of their tanks up in the north. Right? If you look at this, what's happened here, they've only sent 1 Tier 8 down to the southwest, where you would have expected at least 3 of them, right? Even a Barask can work down here in the southwest pretty dang good, but they all went up and used their mobility up into the north. So I think, all right, great. Here's Sergeant Schultz. He's going to come around here and help me out, so we'll just do this. And I thought he might just kind of push in there and start blapping him, but he starts backing out. I'm like, all right, so he wants me to kind of be out there to support him so he doesn't get circled. I can accept that. Let's go on. And I'm thinking, he'll be following me up, right? Surely he'll be following. I'm pushing in. Oh my gosh, I found an HTC. Not looking at me. Great, there we go. He shoots. Thank goodness he misses. Watch this. He's backing up. He's backing up. I have an HTC coming at me. I've got 2 light tanks. And he's still backing up. He's not even in position if that guy makes it around the corner to help me. I'll show you what I'm doing with my camera here. I looked at him several times. I'm thinking, what on earth? So I force a reload. We'll go ahead and get reloaded here. Slide a little bit off that side. And he's still backing up. So now, unfortunately, the Lurva's alone. The AT-15 is not helping me push in here and kind of keep these guys busy, and the poor Lurva is going to get absolutely owned by these guys. I don't want to walk around the corner and just get chewed up by this dude, so I'll put 1 into him there. A little bit of a miss, and we'll go ahead and force a reload. I'm down to 3 APCR gold rounds. The Lurva's doing okay for the moment, but he's still got the 703, and the HTC has him locked down. The EBR actually misses me here. He sees me still. Thank goodness he missed. And we've got the 703 going up the hill there. The Super Hellcat moved in, and they've got our poor Lurva cornered. So we'll take this shot. And of course, I don't get any damage off it. I should have shot one more into him. I don't know why I didn't take that last shot, to be honest. I think maybe I thought I would have another shot into this guy. So the AT-15 finally moves up. Finally, after all of that, if he'd have just been in there, we could have absolutely been massacring these guys. And then down goes the Lurva, and because of the passivity of the team down here in the corner, we're in a kind of a hurting status. So the 703 version 2, the T-71DA dies. The Barask, that's the guy who dropped 3,000, finally gets up into the middle and puts a little pressure on these guys from behind. So I'm curious. I don't know where the 703 version 2 is. So I don't want to just drive into him. If he double taps me, I'm basically out of the game. I've only got 742 hit points. It should be easy for him to fire both guns at once and take me out if he can do that. So I'm going to come around the corner. I'm hoping to find this guy looking the other way because the Baras was up above, and he is. So we get a shot on him that actually tracks him. We'll put another one into the weak spot of that little turret on the side. I'll go ahead and force a reload. You'll notice that earlier I switched over to the regular AP because I only had one APCR round left. That's when I was discussing I should have just sent it down range in that blind shot. And finally, we've kind of got this thing under control. But here's another great example of what is amazing right now to me about the gameplay and the players. This looks like a pretty easy win if guys just get down there and start taking guys out. And if this crowd had simply gone after the 703 version 2, accepted that the Hellcat might take a few shots, probably would have been all good. Unfortunately, they killed the Barask. So initially I'm going to think about going around there, but the AT-15A is so slow. First he was so slow to react, and now he's just so slow. That guy bounces off my mantlet, so I got super lucky. Amazing that he hit me. And we're going to have a hard time killing this stupid Hellcat. So the SU moves down. He puts his back to the Hellcat. Plus there's still the two artillery. The guys are slowly getting into the backfield over there. We've got this pretty well doped, but man, it took so long for this whole thing to develop. We're going to lose the Sioux. I get to my reload, and now I'm just going to have to push in and try to take out this 703 version 2. Really, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to, again, I'm going to have to drag this team into taking out the guy they should have focused to begin with. Because this guy can still win the game for them. He sure can. Especially if he's allowed to sit in this little corner and kill people one at a time. So he takes a shot, and I bounce. And I bounce. Even with, it's pretty amazing actually, the pen on this thing is fairly atrocious. 202, I mean, you would think it wasn't bad, but holy cow, I am look up a little bit, but he is flat plating that armor, and I'm still having trouble going through him. So I get hammered by the artillery as well, who has smartly moved up and avoided getting killed by the guys who get on cap. What's this? Is the 46 just sitting on cap, or does he come off? We're going to go ahead and try to avoid the sandwich here once again. Little ring around the rosy with the rocks. Pocket full of posies. We're trying to not get killed. Finally, the AT-15A, which is who I was waiting for to get somewhat in position to help me. The Hellcat shoots me, and we're down to just the Hellcat. I've got 1692 on the damage, 240 bounce. That's from that Super Hellcat. I got the lucky bounce on the mantlet. And only one kill. That was just hard, that game. If a game doesn't go meta, that's fine. It happens all the time. And I'm not saying that it's bad gameplay because it's not meta. It's just unusual because the reason there is a meta is that it works more often than not. People figure that out. That's what gamers do. It's one of the things they do with games. When they mature, they figure out how to win, what are the best moves, what are the best strats for whatever game it is you're playing. And World Tanks is no different. So when you get a situation where you're starting to see a lot more non-meta stuff, people don't really know what it is. You still have to play the game and learn how to react to that. And I think to a large extent that's actually not a bad thing, because as a good player you can start playing the maps a little bit differently and reacting to what's going on. But it can throw you off as well. If you've ever played a sport, I think probably the biggest one for me is volleyball. If you've ever played a sport at a decent level and then you go and you play a pickup game somewhere, it can really throw you off. Volleyball is a great example. If you're out at the beach or at the barbecue playing slap ball, where everything's a double hit and a carry and everything else that's going on. If you're a bump set spike kind of person, trying to get in a rhythm with people who are just slapping it over is incredibly frustrating for that good player, right? They're still a good player, but they're definitely going to be playing down to the level of this, because getting a good bump set spike rhythm going is near impossible. And that's the same kind of idea here for good players, looking at how these maps are played in pubs and going, holy cow, what is going on? And it can really throw you off if you're not thinking about it. So I think you need to go into it with the mindset that, especially once you start to see it develop that way, and that's kind of why I'm throwing this video out for everybody. Once you start to see that it's not going the way it usually goes, and this is good advice always, but I think it's especially poignant right now because it's happening so much. As soon as you start seeing it not go the way you expected, start changing your plan right then. And that's what I did here. I went down to that corner. I said, well, okay, this is weird. Let me go back, because we just lost our King Tiger, and with me and the AT, we should be able to deal with whatever shows up. We did, but man, it was like pulling teeth to get there, wasn't it? Trying to just, come on, dude, come on, we can win over here. All you got to do is use that W key and get on in there. That AT-15A spits rounds down range so fast. It's a tracking machine. What a beautiful tank for just pushing in with an autoloader and some help. But we eventually got there, guys. We eventually got there. Let me know what you think down below. Is anybody else seeing this? I have heard a little bit of the conversation going on with this kind of thing being a little bit more prevalent a little bit more common. prevalent. I can't say the word. That's a hard word to say. Like I said, let me know what you think down below. Sorry for the late video today. It's already been a long weekend, and it's only halfway through Saturday. So that's all I've got, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you.